All right, Bears fans, it's been a couple of days. You guys have been able to digest the news of Khalil Mack getting traded to the Los Angeles Chargers. So I want to know now. We asked you at the time. I'm asking you again. How do you feel about it? Give me one word in the comments about how you feel now that Khalil Mack has been traded to the Chargers. Do you feel better? Do you feel worse? Do you still feel bad? Give me one word to react to the Khalil Mack trade. Chicago Bears Now is presented by Manscaped. Don't get upset this March like some teams will in the NCAA tournament. Get the Lawnmower 4.0 and keep your significant other happy by shaving your balls. 20% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com. Promo code is BEARS20, so go check that out. Link in the comments and in the description. We'll tell you a little bit more about those guys in a little bit. So let's take one more farewell to Khalil Mack, and then let's take a look at some potential replacements for him in this video. He obviously was traded to the Chargers on Thursday, and the Bears got a second-round pick and a sixth for next year, but the key cog, obviously, that top 50 selection for this season, and the first big move by Ryan Poles, right? He then, releases Tariq Cohen as well, but this has been the big move for Chicago so far this offseason. If you've been under a rock or if you want a reminder of what the trade details are, there you go, as Chicago got the number 48 overall pick and a sixth for next year, second-round picks this year, obviously, and then Khalil Mack headed over to the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, I misspoke, I believe, on the initial breaking news video. Trading Mack actually saves about $6.2 million. I said about $3.5 million. I got that mixed up with another player. So $6 million, I mean, that can be a starter, right? That could be two role players for this year. The key, though, is completely off the books in 2023, but you could still sign some big contracts this year and just backload those deals because the Bears are currently projected to have well over $100 million in cap space for 2023. So I think that is notable. Here's the deal. The Bears are making moves and we're making videos because of it. That's why you should subscribe. It is free, whether it's news, rumors, free agency buzz, draft. I'll probably do a new mock draft. I'll squeeze one in next week at some point after the Khalil Mack trade with the updated draft pick compensation that the Bears have. Subscribe. Don't miss any of our videos here on Chicago Bears Now. So let's take a look at some Khalil Mack replacements and internal options, some free agents, and then also some draft guys as well. We'll start with, I think, the most obvious candidate, and he's already on the roster. That is Trevis Gipson, entering his third season with the Chicago Bears. One of the good value draft picks by Ryan Pace back in 2020. Good year last year. Took advantage of the opportunity that he got once Mack did get sidelined. Had 7 sacks. What I really like is 5 forced fumbles. He's a violent pass rusher and was able to create some turnovers coming off the edge there. I think he starts. I think he starts in this new 4-3 scheme on this four defensive lineman depth chart that Matt Eberflus is implementing into this football team. I think he starts opposite of Robert Quinn. That's just what I anticipate, and I think that will be the case. I think you owe it to yourselves to see if Trevis Gipson is a long-term piece. I like him. I think he's good. I think he's going to be a guy that can get better. He had 7 sacks and played less than 50% of the snaps last year. Turn that up to 75%. He could be a 10-11 sack guy if he has similar production. So I'm excited to see how he produces in this defense led by Matt Eberflus. Will Trevis Gipson start next season? Type S for starter, type B for backup. I think he's going to start, and I'm excited about that that possibility for him because I think he's ready to take that next step. Let's get into some free agents now. 4 free agent options to replace Khalil Mack. Melvin Ingram, who got traded to Kansas City in the middle of the year last year and kind of had a minor resurgence, did some decent things, thought he played pretty well for Kansas City overall. Didn't produce a ton of sacks, but stopped the run well, got consistent pressure. I thought he was a nice piece. I think as like a number 2 or a 2B type of edge rusher, he can still have value. How about Trey Flowers, who the Lions are expected to cut on Monday, according to reports. From Detroit, knows the division well. They gave him that big contract when Matt Patricia was up there because he knew him from his time in New England. He's been hurt the past 2 years, has only played in 6 or 7 games in each of the past 2 seasons, so we haven't seen him be super productive. He certainly did not live up to that contract. I think he got $90 million on a 5-year deal with Detroit, which is why they're cutting him to save some cap space. But if you could get him for cheap on a 1-year deal, you could do worse than Trey Flowers. How about Jerry Hughes? I think someone in similar mold, but he's been able to stay healthy, but he hasn't produced as much as he once did, as he's now 33 years old. But he's been a consistent pass rusher throughout his career. He's a veteran. He's been a part of some winning teams. I think, if he's a guy that you give 30, 35 snaps a game to, he can still be productive. I do think that Jerry Hughes and Trey Flowers can be guys that you can get kind of in the bargain bin. Guys who have been productive in this league aren't as productive anymore, but can still help fill out your roster and fill out that depth in the short term. Neither would be a long-term, guy there, but you need depth, and I think those two guys could fill that out. How about Derek Barnett? I think this is kind of a wild card guy for me because he's still young, 25 years old. I liked him coming out of Tennessee, ton of production in college. Inconsistent with Philadelphia. A couple years ago, he had 6 sacks. This past year, only 2. So he dipped this year, but could you get him on the cheap? Kind of throw a dart at a young guy with some upside that hasn't quite reached his potential? I think that could, potentially be the type of guy that Ryan Poles is interested in because he still is a young player. Name a free agent defensive end the Bears should sign. I just mentioned a few. I don't expect the Bears to replace Khalil Mack and go pay big for like a Jadeveon Clowney. That's pointless. You should have just kept Mack if you were going to do that. But maybe there's another name out there at the end of the day that you would like to see the Bears sign at the defensive end position. Now, we appreciate Manscaped for being a sponsor here at Chicago Bears Now. And hey, it's basketball season with March Madness, and show off your basketballs by keeping them nice and tidy with the Lawnmower 4.0. Manscaped.com, promo code BEARS20 to get 20% off. This ball hair trimming product is fantastic. It uses advanced skin care technology, so it limits, razor pull, razor tug down there as well. It's got a light on it. If you want to shave this thing in the shower, it's a little dark. You can reach all those tough-to-reach spots as well. Waterproof, wireless charging station. 4 adjustable guards there as well if you want to leave a landing strip for yourself. Manscaped.com, promo code BEARS20. That's Manscaped.com. Promo code is BEARS20. So go ahead and get going with Manscaped today. Let's get to some draft options to replace Khalil Mack. You got that extra second-round pick, 3 top 71 picks now. You could use one of those on an edge rusher, although I do think there's bigger needs still. Arnold Ebiketie out of Penn State. He's been kind of a fast draft riser. Fringe late round 1, early mid-round 2 guy. I like him. I think he would fit in well. Another guy that's been moving up draft boards is Logan Hall. Some believe he could sneak into the first round. Kind of the edge defensive tackle hybrid out of Houston. I think he's an edge in a 4-3 scheme, but we'll see where he ends up getting drafted this year. Kingsley, the pronunciation here. Enagbare, I think is how you say it. I practiced this earlier, I promise. Out of South Carolina, I think he's classic middle day 2, and that kind of fits right where the Bears have draft picks, 2 second-round picks, and then a third-round pick as well. I'm chuckling because producer Jeremy started to laugh. He doesn't like this note. He wears number 52 like Khalil Mack. Hey, you can keep the jersey and just change out the name on the back. It's kind of like when the Bears hired Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus. They can just save those business cards and just replace the last names from Pace to Poles and from Nagy to Eberflus. I'm obviously joking, but the point being, hey, he wears 52, and you tell me, he kind of looks like Khalil Mack putting his hand in the dirt and getting after it. So I like him. He's got some pass rushing upside. Keep an eye on him. Drake Jackson out of USC is another name to be intrigued about. I think he's a day 2 guy. Some guys like him in the first round. I think he'll fall to the second. Could be an option at 39 or 48. And then Myjai Sanders out of Cincinnati. Bearcats have a bunch of dudes on the defensive side of the ball in this draft. Sauce Gardner at corner, Sanders here as well. Sanders a little undersized, just a second note for him. He's about 240, 245, so he'd be kind of that speed rusher guy, but you could drop him into coverage if needed as well. He could offer a little bit more versatility in that aspect. So what do you think? Should the Bears use one of their second-round picks on a defensive end? You now got number 39 overall. You got number 48 overall as well. Let's hear it from you guys. Should the Bears use one of those second-round picks on a defensive end now that Khalil Mack is gone? Type Y for yes, type in for no. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Quick reminder, Sunday night, Bears Now Instagram Live, 6 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Central Time. I will go live from my house on IG, and we'll get you ready for free agency, which starts the next day on Monday. So give me a follow. It's at HGrahamNFL, at HGrahamNFL. Would love to interact with all of you. And, hey, moves are happening, so would love to discuss all of it on IG. Give me a follow, at HGrahamNFL.